Now to the second part of our special report about the expulsion of Asians from Uganda. President Idi Amin accused them of corruption and not doing enough to integrate, claims strongly denied by those who lived there.
Well, many witness horrific scenes of violence and they say they'll never forget what they experienced. Some had to leave their homes in the middle of the night to avoid being killed by Idi Amin's death squads. Rajiv Popat reports.
Mansour Mogul was an outspoken politician in Uganda and a popular community leader. As a former deputy mayor, he had close links with high-profile government figures. This was him having lunch with President Idi Amin. In August 1972, the president said, in his words, Asians were milking the economy.
I want to see that the whole Kampala street is not full of Indians. It must be proper black, and administration in those shops is run by the Ugandans.
They were given 90 days to go, or else.
What will happen to these people if they don't go by the time limit?
I think they will be sitting like they are sitting on the fire. I will tell you this. You just wait after 3 months.
What will you do to them?
Okay, you will see.
Mr. Mogul knew what the dictator was capable of.
He had an uncanny character of befriending people, disarming them, assuring them of his trust, and you could be easily taken in by his cunningness, whereas behind that facade hid the most brutal character, most murderous character.
A year before the expulsion, Idi Amin began to voice anti-Indian sentiments. Mr. Mogul, who now lives in Leicester, was critical of the president's stance. But this was a dangerous move. The dictator didn't take criticism well. Political opponents would suddenly disappear.
I came to know that I was on Idi Amin's hit list. So I fled the country in the middle of the night with my wife and my children. And later on, when I was in England, I came to know that my friend had been captured in Masaka and he had been brutally murdered in a fashion which I cannot describe. They went looking for me at my home. They beat up my housemaid. That's how I managed to escape his murderous regime.
Nirmala Ben Raichura left Uganda 6 months earlier. Her husband Bravinbai made arrangements for his wife and 2 daughters to flee as quickly as possible. But when Mrs. Raichura arrived in the UK and moved to Leicester, she heard about the unrest and bloodshed and began to worry.
We were so scared that they would come and kill us at any time. I was very worried about my husband and what was happening there. Lots of people were being kidnapped and being killed. We used to watch it on the news here, and that made us even more scared.
Mrs. Raichura's worst fears came true when soldiers kidnapped her husband. He was the manager of a successful firm in the town of Jinja. They demanded money and held him at ransom at the army barracks. He was suddenly surrounded by troops pointing guns to his head.
They kidnapped him. They were going to kill him. But somebody who was driving past, who knew Idi Amin, said, "Let him go. Don't hurt him. He's a good man." It was so fortunate that that man was there. That actually saved his life.
The atmosphere in Uganda became tense soon after the announcement. The exodus, the mass movement of people who were frightened for their safety, began. Properties were seized. They could leave with just a small amount of cash and jewellery.
Everybody is happy in England.
Galaben Putney ran a jewellery store in the capital Kampala with her husband. She said people were frustrated not being allowed to take the gold they had to the UK. But there was a solution.
When we left Uganda, we were only allowed to take 2 gold bangles. Everyone used to come to my husband with all their gold He would melt the gold and then make 2 bangles. He did this to help them. He did it for 1 month non-stop.
Some women went to great lengths to bring over items of monetary and sentimental value.
Women put jewelry in their hair. They tied their hair into a tight bun to hide the gold and diamonds. We were not allowed to bring much, so who can blame them? When we came here, people came to see us to thank us for helping them.
They left a country known as the Pearl of Africa for a new start and a new life. Rajiv Popat, ITV News.